Hello and welcome. You're watching Beyond World is One. My name is Mohammed Saleh, and let's start this broadcast by taking a quick look as to what is making headlines at this hour. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appoints an official delegation to represent Kiev in potential peace talks to end the war with Russia. The Presidential Chief of Staff is to head the team, with the Deputy Chief of Presidential Staff and the Foreign and Defence Ministers as members. Now, Italy is not planning on sending soldiers to Ukraine, says the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni after a virtual summit that was hosted by Britain to drum up support to protect any eventual ceasefire. She's also asserted that Italy will work with the United States and other Western partners to define effective security guarantees. Now, Putin's response to a 30-day ceasefire proposal is not good enough, says the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He tells a meeting of EU leaders and NATO nations that they will accelerate military support, tighten sanctions to ensure that Russia pays for damage done to Ukraine. A blast in Syria's coastal city of Latakia results in 3 casualties. At least 12 people are said to be injured in the explosion at a building in the Al Rimal neighborhood. And Serbia witnesses mass protests. The demonstrators gather near the parliament in central Belgrade to protest against corruption that they say caused the deaths of at least 15 people when a railway station roof collapsed last year in the northern city of Novi Sad. The Sikh community members celebrate the annual spring festival of Hola Mohalla in the Indian state of Punjab. The displays of horsemanship and sword fights commemorate the transformation of the community into a martial fraternity under Guru Gobind Singh.
We are going to start off here with this serious weather threat that is going to continue this weekend. Unfortunately, overnight, several tornadoes touched down, toppling trees and tossing over cars and leaving many homes and businesses damaged in their wake.
And today, at least 36 million people are in the storm zone with the risk of extremely dangerous long-track tornadoes.
We're going to get to Angie's forecast in just a minute, but let's begin here with Adrienne Broaddus. She is in hard-hit East St. Louis this morning. Adrienne, good morning. What are you seeing?
Hey there, Laura. Good morning to you. We knew this storm would be deadly, and this morning we are learning at least 3 people across the state of Missouri have been killed. Now, even before those suspected tornadoes, we saw destruction here in St. Louis. Take a look behind me. All that's left, a pile of bricks. Strong winds up to 65 miles per hour caused this vacant building to collapse. And overnight, we heard multiple reports of tornado sightings, observed tornadoes on the radar, causing destruction to homes and businesses like what you're seeing right now on your screen. We are waiting on word about any injuries, and those strong winds knocking out power across the region. At least 150,000 customers without power in Missouri alone, and a significant power outages in Illinois, Indiana, Texas, and Arkansas. In Texas, at least 3 fatal crashes following that severe dust storm on Friday. Wind gusts reaching over 80 miles per hour. Visibility was near zero, causing multiple crashes, tossing multiple semi-trucks on their sides in Amarillo. As those winds caused wildfires to explode in Texas and Oklahoma, some residents were forced to evacuate, and that was only the beginning, as we are expecting things to get worse and a day of cleanup here in Illinois. Back to you guys.
Some of those pictures just extraordinary. Adrian, thank you. A long road ahead for people.
And let's pick it up from there and bring in Angie now, because unfortunately the severe weather threat is far from over, right?
It is indeed far from over, and we're really going to see it ramp up essentially, guys, today, especially as we get the second half of the day going. But already quite an active morning. We've got tornado watches across parts of the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. These are going to go through at least the late morning hours. They stretch into Texas for those thunderstorm watches. And this system continues to move to the east. Notice that line of thunderstorms for the second half of the day. This is going to be kind of a significant tornado threat across much of the deep south here, but we'll see that severe risk basically from the Ohio Valley down to the Gulf Coast. If you're looking ahead to Sunday, still a severe potential, but not quite as bad, but the system will kind of hug parts of the I-95 corridor and points down to the southeast. This is what you really got to pay attention to, the area today. We've got a pretty rare high risk that's set up over Jackson, Birmingham, and those two major cities. Really significant tornadoes likely here as we get to the later parts of our day today. Long track, EF2 or higher, guys, and wind, of course, and hail also on the table for folks across this region.
All right, Angie, thank you so much, and we'll get the rest of your forecast in just a few minutes.
I do want to take you out to some of the video that we do have coming in here from Missouri, as we know that at least 13 people were killed across a couple states after a widespread and dangerous severe weather outbreak. Again, we have a lot of different video that is coming into our newsroom showing some of the aftermath, but also the actual tornadoes that were spotted there. In Missouri, at least 5 tornadoes reported, including one in the St. Louis area, leaving behind significant damage. The Missouri State Highway Patrol saying that 6 of those deaths occurred in Wayne County, 2 others reported in Ozark County, while the other 2 were in Butler and Jefferson counties. In Arkansas, 3 fatalities confirmed in Independence County, and 29 people were reportedly injured in 8 counties in connection to a storm system that moved through the state overnight. That is according to the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management. As daylight did arrive, state officials now discovering further damage throughout the region that had over 150 tornado warnings since Friday morning. It's not over just yet, as I do want to pop up this statement here coming in from the National Weather Service, as more than 150 million people are at heightened risk of severe weather, with today expected to potentially be the most dangerous day. The National Weather Service issuing this statement saying, quote, numerous significant tornadoes, some of which could be long track and potentially violent, are expected this afternoon and evening. So no question, we are keeping an eye on all of that, as we always do here on Live Now from Fox. But other states also impacted. Take a look at just some of this video coming in out of the Texas Panhandle. You can see it there on your screen, as we do know that the Texas Department of Public Safety says 3 people died in car crashes as a result of this dust storm you see on your screen. An estimated 38 cars were involved in one of the pileups, and that looks to be a semi-tractor trailer that is on its side. This video coming in just outside of Amarillo, Texas. We know the dust storms did impact others there as well. We also have this video that we showed you a bit earlier coming in out of Oklahoma. We just showed you that news conference with Oklahoma's governor here a short time ago. But what we've learned is that evacuations were ordered in some of the communities as more than 130 fires were reported across 44 counties in the state. Oklahoma State Patrol saying that winds were so strong they toppled several semi-tractor trailers. Not really seeing them in this video here, but also fires broke out that were caused by those fires at locations that do include buildings, homes, and things of that nature. Extensive damage that is still being surveyed at this time. This video from Storyful showing the aftermath and a lot of the heavy smoke in the distance. Important to remember, this does take place across 44 different counties. We also have this video coming in from Oklahoma. It's not from Storyful, but from some of the Fox affiliates that are in that location, showing several of the areas impacted. Looks like a sign there actually falling over as a result of the high winds. Tape possibly at this point still holding it up. You are going to see those semi-tractor trailers that are on their side. We are working to figure out more.
Sydney will endure severe heatwave conditions today with a total fire ban now in place. Today, Sydney reporter Jack Hahn is at Barangaroo for us. Jack, good morning to you. Tell us the bad news. How hot is it going to get?
Good morning to you, Ali. Look, I've got some good news for you on a much lighter note. No rain here in Sydney this morning. It is a beautiful morning. We are already seeing the telltale signs that today is going to be an absolute cracker. We've got people out here already running at this early time of the morning and people already taking a dip here in the harbour at Barangaroo. So, Ali, the big question, how hot will it get? Well, 37 degrees, if not more, in places like Penrith, Parramatta, Liverpool, Campbelltown, and even here in the city, we can expect the mid to upper 30s. Along the coast, you'll obviously have that sea breeze keeping temperatures down a little bit. Expect about 33 degrees on the thermostat if you are at Bondi Beach, which will make for an absolutely great day at the beach. But of course, Ali, with the warm weather comes warnings, and we do have them this morning from New South Wales Ambulance. Paramedics just want us to be safe during the hottest part of the day, expecting that to be about 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon. If you can, try and actually be outside of the sun to avoid heat stroke. Now, we do know with the cost of living that chucking on the air conditioning can cost you a lot of money. So if that's not an option for you, of course, you've got the shopping centre, the library, where you've got the air conditioning right as you walk into the door. So that advice coming into from New South Wales Ambulance this morning. But yes, expecting a beautiful day here in the Harbour City. Ali.
Good advice there. Thank you, Jack.
What we know right now is there's about 170,000 acres that were burned, and forestry's up flying right now to kind of get the exact number. Last night I had a report of about 293 homes / structures that were destroyed. It was just a perfect storm. It was the humidity levels went down to kind of record lows, below 10%, and then with the winds where they were, it just dried everything out. And so we should have a couple good days in a row here to get all the fires out, because there's a little bit of risk coming back in maybe Monday or Tuesday. So.
Authorities and environmentalists in Zambia are grappling with the aftermath of a devastating acid spill caused by a collapsed tailings dam at a Chinese-owned copper mine. The spill, which occurred on February the 18th, has raised concerns over the long-term impact on the Kafue River. When I went to the fish pond, I found that the lime had flowed through the pond and all the fish had been swept away. I just stood in agony, wondering what I would do about the money I spent on the project. I stood there watching because there was nothing else I could do. The disaster has destroyed not only aquatic life, but also impacted agriculture, as fields of maize and groundnuts were contaminated by the waste.
Prior to the 18th of February, this was a vibrant and alive river. We had cormorants, we had kingfishers, there was small masengas, the fishing was good. Now everything is dead. It's just like a totally dead river. It's unbelievable. Overnight, this river died.
The Kafue River, vital for fishing, agriculture and drinking, is facing a catastrophic disaster, according to experts.
It is an environmental disaster, really of catastrophic consequence when we consider the fact that Cyanometals has polluted a river on which millions of people depend for their livelihoods. We're also talking about wildlife and just the general disturbance which has been given, even in not just villages but actual towns.
Local communities are grappling with the loss of livelihoods as the long-term effects of the acid spill are expected to last for years.
A powerful explosion took place on Friday night at a temple in India's Amritsar city in the state of Punjab, shattering the window panes and also damaging its walls. CCTV images of the moment of the attack that have gone viral on social media show two bike-borne masked men stopping briefly and then lobbing an object towards the temple before fleeing from the spot. The police were alerted about the blast by the temple's priest after an initial investigation. The Amritsar Police Commissioner suggested a possible link to Pakistan's ISI.
We got information at 2 a.m. We reached the spot right away. The forensic team was called. We checked the CCTV and spoke to the nearby people. The thing is that Pakistan's ISI lures our youth into creating disturbances in Punjab. We will trace this case within days and take appropriate action. I warn the youth not to ruin their lives. We will catch the culprits soon.
The Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann also condemned the attack and stated that many attempts are being made to disturb the peace in the state.
There are always many attempts to disturb the peace in Punjab. Drugs, gangsters, extortion are part of it. And there are attempts to show that Punjab has become a disturbed state.
Now, the blast at the Thakur Dwara temple comes just a day after 5 people were injured when an assailant attacked them with an iron rod in the Golden Temple premises.
Cuba is once again without power. It is the 4th time the island's electricity grid has crashed in 5 months. Flashlights and phone torches are now a routine part of navigating city streets, as Havana locals have grown all too familiar to darkness.
There was a blackout that lasted 3 days. It was long, very long. Food spoils and there's many challenges. Also, the connection and communication is terrible.
Cuba's 9.7 million people are currently living through the country's worst economic crisis in 3 decades. On top of widespread food and medicine shortages, many citizens face daily outages of 4 or 5 hours, caused primarily by a lack of fuel and ageing infrastructure. The island has 8 thermal power plants built in the 1980s and 90s that are prone to regular breakdowns and regularly require maintenance. Officials have often blamed the 6-decade-long US trade embargo for driving up energy costs. But critics suggest the communist government has failed to invest in the sector.
I don't know what the situation in the country is right now, the situation with oil. It seems to me that there are many things missing here that have nothing to do with the blockade or oil.
Cuba's Prime Minister said the government was working tirelessly to ensure a speedy recovery.
Locals in the Somali capital of Mogadishu have rejected a proposal to resettle Palestinians from Gaza in Somalia. The plan, proposed by US President Donald Trump, has sparked outrage across the region, raising questions about its feasibility and morality.
As a Somali politician, I don't think that proposal will get, a support. Because of the circumstances surrounding this issue. So we have heard that it's in the mainstream media, and already we know that the immediate reaction that came from the neighboring Arab countries, frontline Arab countries of Palestinians, like Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the likes.
The US plan to relocate Gaza's 2 million people to Somalia, Sudan and Somaliland faces strong opposition due to economic challenges in these countries. I find President Trump's proposal to resettle the people of Gaza unfeasible. Even children shouldn't entertain such a plan. This reflects Trump's simplistic thinking, and I doubt the Palestinians will accept it, as Palestine is their homeland. There is no place better than their own country. If they are forced to leave, the responsibility will rest with every Muslim who will stand in defence of the Palestinians. The proposal has received some support from Israeli officials, but Palestinians and Arab nations strongly oppose it, fearing it could violate Palestinian rights.
A decree issued by the Minister of Trade last week said Sudan will suspend all of imports originating from Kenya, and this decree will be effective immediately until further notice. All of the imports coming from airports, crossing through airports and crossings and entry points will be banned to enter Sudan, including tea, processed tobacco, and also seed oil. Sudan is the 10th largest importer of Kenyan tea globally, and the second largest in Africa, with a total of imports worth over $48 million in 2024 only. This decision was made based on the Minister of Trade, and Sudan's government was made because Kenya hosted a political conference of the political powers and RSF in Kenya. They signed a political charter and also a transitional constitution, paving the way for formation of a parallel government in the areas controlled by the RSF. Tensions between Kenya and Sudan rose over the disputes of hosting meetings with the leader of RSF, Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, last year, and also this year of hosting the political conference for the political powers. So this is the latest development between the ties, in ties between Kenya and Sudan, and of course it will make impacts in the ties and trade ties between the two countries and consumers here in the country.
Faced with the spectre of an international trade war, the American economy is trembling. Tariffs, additional taxes, and contradictory announcements by Donald Trump has created instability for American businesses. In the state of Indiana, this company sells robotic components mainly made of aluminium, which is imported from Canada. With a 25% additional tariff, the components are likely to cost a lot more, and the owner does not yet know if he will be able to keep all of his staff.
Like right now we have 46 full-time people, about 10 part-time people. With higher costs might drive sales down, and that may make us not be able to hire more people in the future.
For others, like these wine sellers who set their business up in Washington just under a year ago, the survival of their business is at stake.
This is around $50 with 200% tariffs. I mean, we could do the math. They're over $100 a bottle.
If he actually believes in the American dream, then he should understand that he's killing it. And he's doing it with an obsession over tariffs.
An opinion also shared by consumers whose confidence index has dropped by 10% in only a month.
I anticipate that we're going to have a recession, and it's going to be very difficult.
The uncertainty and the mood definitely concerns me.
The consequences can also be seen on financial markets, which strongly fluctuate with each of Trump's announcements.
Since Donald Trump has taken office, markets are increasingly sensitive and market volatility has increased. In the last few days, markets are in freefall due to Trump's repeated tariff announcements and possible recession.
Donald Trump could impose new tariffs in the next few weeks. According to him, they are the only way to boost the economy and to bring back production onto American soil.
Reports in the Panama Canal from a Hong Kong-based company, spineless, groveling, and a betrayal. The nearly $23 billion deal was considered a way to ease concerns from President Trump that China is, quote, running the canal. But observers think that some investors are worried the deal may not go through if Beijing objects.
As we begin a proud new chapter in the chronicles of American justice, this really is something. We're turning the page on 4 long years of corruption, weaponization, and surrender to violent criminals, and we're restoring fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. But first, we must be honest about the lies and abuses that have occurred within these walls. Unfortunately, in recent years, a corrupt group of hacks and radicals within the ranks of the American government obliterated the trust and goodwill built up over generations. They weaponized the vast powers of our intelligence and law enforcement agencies to try and thwart the will of the American people. They tried to turn America into a corrupt, communist, and third world country. But in the end, the thugs failed and the truth won. freedom won, justice won, democracy won, and above all, the American people won. We will expel the rogue actors and corrupt forces from our government. We will expose and very much expose their egregious crimes and severe misconduct, of which was levels you've never seen anything like it. It's going to be legendary. It's going to also be legendary for the people that are able to seek it out and bring justice. We will restore the scales of justice in America, and we will ensure that such abuses never happen again in our country.